Hi, you are watching Toon Matrix. Spoilers ahead, watch out. The story starts at the harbor city Lilith. The all-overpowered bird uses shadow clone jutsu and attacks the two ship coming from ahead.
Kidding.
The story starts at the harbor city Lilith. A man says, I am finally here. The merchants are selling their merchandise to people around coming off the boat. The man's eyes shines with excitement. Then another man asks him, are you that happy? We came to know his name is Raymond and the other man's name is Walker. Then a man named Taryn says, honestly, I want to run around from all the joy too. A girl is also standing beside him. They all are in party with Raymond. Then Taryn, while looking up, says, this is where our adventure begins. Then we are briefed about the world. This is the era of adventures. Adventurers from all over the world begin their own journey to become renowned heroes. Gate, one day they began to open all over the world. Beyond these mysterious portals were all kind of horrifying creatures that can't be seen in normal world. Many adventurers died inside the gate, but the unimaginable treasures that lay inside lured the adventurers in. Walker says, we need a bait. Raymond wonders what is he talking about. Then Walker tells them that we don't know what lies inside the gate. Countless adventurers died because of unexpected variables. And that is why we need a slave to act as bait. The girl agrees with Walker and says that's a good plan. Then the party went to a slave market. A man says, all the guys here are meant to be bait, and asks them to pick a one to their liking. The man recommends a duo as they are in pretty good shape. Walker says he will take them both. The man wishes them good luck on their adventure. In front of the gate, Walker says, we will mark the outside to notify anyone else that they are already inside. He sees that there is no marking outside the gate, and with a smile on his face says, it seems we are the first one to go inside, and says let's head in. After entering the gate, Raymond says, I feel strange, but his eyes are filled with awe at the sight of the forest full of mushroom-like plants. Raymond exclaims, I have never been to a place like this, it is totally different from what he had imagined. Walker tells them not to be nervous, since the gates are away from the monsters so they are safe for now. He says they can't use the same gate for leaving, so they have to find the exit gate first. The girl notices something, and sees a spider-like monster behind her. It takes a bite out of her like a KFC chicken, and the rest screams and started running away. We came to know her name was Charlotte. But she is now a half-eaten leg piece, what a shame. They see that they are surrounded by monsters, and then Walker readies his staff and begins to cast fire arrow, and shots it at monsters to keep them away from Charlotte. Walker tells them that something is wrong and orders the party to tie the slave to a tree, and they need to get out now. One of the slaves asks to take them too. Taryn takes out his knife and says to stay put. Raymond apologizes and ties them to a tree, and they all begin to run away. One of the slaves gets instantly killed, and the other got attacked too. Walker's party manages to get away. Walker, while carrying Charlotte's body, says, we don't have to clear it, we just need to escape. Raymond gets terrified. Walker asks Raymond to get a hold of yourself. Taryn then grabs his collar, saying to listen to what Walker says. Taryn asks him to calm down and says they can always try again. He confidently says that they all will make out of here, but he gets crushed by a monster. Walker screams, but my man has already become a human pie. Raymond falls to the ground while panicking. Walker casts another fire arrow, but the monster shoots his tongue at him and wraps it around his neck, then pulls Walker into his mouth. All we can hear is munching of the monster. Raymond gets terrified and starts to run away, but he falls down. The monster slowly walks up to him and takes a bite out of his leg. Raymond screams about his leg, and then sees one of the slaves standing on the tree. He says he is glad that he is alive and asks to help him. Raymond says all his party members are dead and only they two remain. He apologizes about earlier, and asks the slave to get him out of here alive. Raymond pleads while gritting his teeth. The man says nothing. Raymond begs to help him and stops standing there. The man smiles and then jumps down the tree. He says I can't help now as it's too late. We see Raymond is devoured for the most of his part. Raymond sees his reflection in the pool of his own blood and laughs while cursing at him. Raymond, while crying, asks if the slave thinks he will be able to escape because he is next. Then he gets fully eaten by the monster, leaving only his hand behind. The man readies his staff. The monster is ready too. The monster leaps off to attack the man. The man says he won't die here and stabs a hole through the monster, instantly killing it. The man says, where he died wasn't a place like this, and then he makes a badass pose. We get flashback where a man is looking off the cliff at the destruction below. Someone says it's coming, and we see winged creatures flying towards them. Among them is a giant beast, the king of dragons, Gorntail. A woman says, I guess the centaur's nest has fallen, and there is nothing we can do as everyone else is dead. The knights, the adventurers, and even the 6 heroes who were ray of hope to the people are gone. The woman tells a man that he is the last remaining adventurer and calls the man by his name, Paume. Paume says let's go as this is their last adventure, and we see Gornhale directly flying towards them. We don't get to see the action and are brought to hellish landscape with Paume covered in blood and all of his comrades lying dead on the ground. But Gornhale's head was also lying on the ground. Paume wonders if it is over, but we see Gorntail has 3 heads and only lost one of them, but it didn't matter, since that also begin to regenerate. Gorntail flies towards Paume to attack him. Paume closes his eyes accepting his fate, but he hits the ground with frustration, saying he cannot accept an ending like this. He says, Philip, Jaden, Alexis too. Everyone sacrificed themselves. He screams with frustration and then stands up. He says this is not how this story ends. Using his magic, he prepares a final attack for Gorntail and something big starts forming above his head. Suddenly his magic stops working and he coughs up blood due to the backlash for using too much magic. We see one of Gorntail's head preparing an attack. He fires it towards Paume. Paume curses while the attack hits him and then it fades to black. Paume says how did it end like this? If only I were more powerful, if I had just one more chance. Then Paume jolts his eyes open upon being splashed by water. He is surprised as a man says, a slave should know his place. Paume wonders what happened to Gorntail, and after a moment of realization, he recognizes this place. Several other slaves are lined up against a wall with him. He says it's the slave market. He was surprised as this place was demolished a long time ago. But he recognizes the merchant as the one who was in charge of him 6 years ago. He wonders why he is here and pieces it together, but the merchant hates that Paume is staring at him and he punches Paume in the face. Paume sits there wondering if he is dreaming of the past, but says it's too realistic to be a dream. He can't believe it, but there is no other explanation. We see Walker and his party in the slave market and he buys 2 slaves. Paume decides to not let this second chance go to waste. The flashback ends and we are brought to where Walker and his team died. Paume picks up Walker's staff and says Fireball isn't too bad of a skill and it's perfect for my level right now, but this isn't enough, an adventurer should have more than one weapon. Then he sees Walker's foot, and takes it off saying people hide valuable items in their shoes. Paume finds a ring and wears it. He came to know it's a telekinesis ring. He hears stomping in the forest and sees a horde of monsters around him. He wonders if they smell the blood and then the monsters lunges at him. He quickly puts a hole in one of the monster. Then one of the monster tries to tongue attack at him, and wraps it around the staff breaking it into pieces. Paume gets surprised and using this chance one of the monster tries to attack him from behind, but Paume uses fire arrow and instantly kills it. He says he will test the ring too, and then controls the fire arrow using the ring, piercing several monsters at once setting them ablaze and killing them. He says he can't keep it up for long but it doesn't matter, then he's shocked that fire arrow is not working anymore. He says it's not broken, so maybe it's on cooldown. One more monster begin to attack at him, but Paume uses the staff itself pummeling the monster and kicks him in the face making it fall to the ground. He wonders if the staff is ready, then it began to power up again, multiple monster begin to attack him. Paume uses the fire arrow and uses the ring to control the arrow piercing and killing all the monsters at once. He looks down at their corpses, then we hear Charlotte calling out to him. She says he is no ordinary slave. Paume is surprised to see she is alive, and so is your narrator to see her alive. The MC says, she got lucky. She asks who is he? Why does he have Walker's staff, and about the mark on his wrist, asking how he awakened despite being a slave. After seeing around she realizes that everyone is dead and asks if it was all his plan. Paume intensely glares at her and asks if she is done yapping. He says that she is wrong, and this wasn't his plan, and even if it was he would have killed them anyway. She asks why. While casting fire arrow he replies that, I absolutely despises people who uses slaves as bait. The scene shifts to Lilith City. People while looking at Paume are talking about how a bait slave returned alone. Paume says he have to hurry, so he can avoid repeating the same fate. Then he stands in front of a building, saying his first goal is to free himself. Thanks for watching. Follow for more.